The Dallas Cowboys just did exactly what the NFL feared. So we're going to be going through that and other stories in today's video. So make sure to like this video. And if you want more Dallas Cowboys news content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel by hitting that red button down below. Trey Lance is still getting accustomed to his new surroundings, but he's glad to be with the Dallas Cowboys after a trade from the San Francisco 49ers on Saturday. I really tried to not expect anything one way or another, but I can say that when I heard Cowboys, I had a big smile on my face. Lance said. I was very excited to be here. When the Niners selected him with the 3rd overall pick in 2021, giving up 3 first-round picks to the Miami Dolphins to move up from the number 12 spot, Lance expected to have a long career in San Francisco. He played just 8 games, the fewest a top 5 pick has played for the franchise he made his debut with in the common draft era since 1967 and excluding the 2023 draft class, according to ESPN Stats and Information. In 2 seasons, Lance completed 56 of 102 passes for 797 yards with 5 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. It's not how I expected it to go. It's not how I think a lot of people expected it to go, Lance said. But I believe that everything happens for a reason. I think I'm here for a reason. Regardless of what it is, just want to try to find a way to help the team. After being informed the Niners were making Sam Darnold the backup to starter Brock Purdy, Lance was allowed time to gather his thoughts as the 49ers worked on a potential trade, eventually picking up a 2024 4th-round pick from the Cowboys. I'm kind of really trying to move on, but yeah, it definitely took some time, Lance said. That conversation obviously wasn't something I wanted to hear, but that's the reality of the situation. Nothing but respect and gratitude for everyone there. Coaching staff, locker room, athletic training staff, everyone I spent a ton of time with these last few years. Obviously, it was tough, but for me it was trying to figure out what was next and what's going to happen in the future. Lance's immediate future is learning a new offense, which he acknowledged is much different from the scheme used by Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco. He will not be asked to do too much too soon behind Dak Prescott and Cooper Rush as he learns the Cowboys' offense under Mike McCarthy, who worked with Hall of Famers Joe Montana and Brett Favre, and future Hall of Famer Aaron Rodgers before joining the Cowboys. It was a little bit surreal for me hearing I was going to come here knowing everything about this historic organization, Lance said. Just compared to the 49ers, obviously you think of that as another one of the top-tier historic organizations. But for me, just very excited to be here. Coach McCarthy and the entire coaching staff, man, nothing but knowledge being in all these meetings. It's been awesome for me. It's been fun. Kind of a breath of fresh air to learn a new offense, and being around the guys the last 2 days, I feel like I've learned so much just ball. Lance connected with Prescott for the first time on Tuesday, although they have met before. When Lance suffered a severe ankle injury last year, Prescott, who suffered a dislocated and fractured right ankle in 2020, reached out to him. He said he is looking forward to learning everything from Prescott. The type of person he is, first and foremost. I think everyone knows that, with the Walter Payton Man of the Year and things like that, how he treats people, how I've seen him treat people just in the building these few days, Lance said. The few conversations I had with him, just texting him when I had my ankle injury, things like that. Just the type of person he is. And obviously the football stuff kind of speaks for itself. I'm still trying to learn day 1 install, so for me, obviously got a long way to go there. But definitely looking forward to being a sponge, just soaking up everything I can from him. Lance won an FCS national championship for North Dakota State at Toyota Stadium in Frisco, just a few miles from the Star. He also trained this offseason in Fort Worth with his personal coach, Jeff Christensen. Hopefully I don't bring any snow, but yeah, great memories in Frisco, Lance said. Hopefully continue to make more. The Dallas Cowboys and Miami Dolphins have swapped cornerbacks who could be in need of fresh starts. The Dolphins sent 2020 first-round pick Noah Igbinoghene to the Cowboys for 2021 second-round pick Kelvin Joseph as teams prepared their initial 53-man rosters Tuesday afternoon, the teams announced. Liked him coming out. I do recall his kickoff return ability too, vertical speed, Dallas coach Mike McCarthy said of Igbinoghene. But he's more outside corner than inside, and that was part of the interest, part of the reason why we had the interest. You see him lining up against top receivers. I was impressed with his video, and I think he's a really good addition for us. Igbinoghene started just 5 of 32 games in his time with Miami, intercepting 1 pass. Joseph had just 3 starts in 26 games with the Cowboys with no interceptions. Igbinoghene is set to make $2.144 million in the final year of his rookie deal, while Joseph is set to make $1.367 million and is signed through next year. Igbinoghene was inactive for 14 games the past 2 seasons, while Joseph was a core special teams player for the Cowboys, hardly what was expected when he was selected at number 44 in the 2021 draft. In 2022, Dallas police opted not to pursue charges against Joseph for his connection to a homicide in which he was a passenger in a car involved in a drive-by shooting. It wasn't until video was made public of the incident that Joseph met with Dallas police, which led to the arrest of 2 individuals. It is not clear whether Joseph could still face sanctions from the NFL under the personal conduct policy. The Cowboys worked Joseph in the slot during the offseason and into training camp, but with sources saying the team plans to put cornerback Jourdan Lewis on the active roster. Lewis was on the active, physically unable to perform list with a Lisfranc injury suffered against the Detroit Lions last October that had him in a cast or boot for 6 months. Part of this, from his vantage point, is he has a chance in Miami to play inside, McCarthy said of Joseph. He was a little further down the line there for us. Outstanding special teams, played inside and outside for us. I'm not the guy on the phone in trade conversations, McCarthy added, but I do know there was interest from Miami because of his ability that he showed inside. With Lewis out last year, the Cowboys turned to Darren Bland in the slot, and he led the defense with 5 interceptions. Just because Lewis will be on the 53-man roster does not mean he will be ready for action Week 1 against the New York Giants. The plan is to ramp up his work in practice to see how his foot responds. Had he remained on the PUP list, he would have missed the first 4 games and been unable to practice. The Cowboys made a similar move last year with wide receiver Michael Gallup, who was coming off major knee surgery. He missed the first 3 games last year while still recovering. Igbinoghene is the second first-rounder the Cowboys have acquired in the past week. They dealt a 2024 fourth-round pick to the San Francisco 49ers for quarterback Trey Lance, the number 3 pick in the 2021 draft. Appearing in 16 games as a rookie, mostly in place of injured cornerback Byron Jones, Igbinoghene was used sparingly over the next 2 seasons, appearing in 16 total games. His shining moment came in the 2022 season, when he recorded his first career interception, which sealed a victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers. The son of 2 Nigerian Olympic athletes, Igbinoghene converted from wide receiver to cornerback as a sophomore at Auburn. The Dallas Cowboys made a notable roster move on Tuesday as the team trims down to 53 in preparation for the 2023 NFL season. Once a promising player, linebacker Jabril Cox is expected to be waived ahead of Week 1. Cox entered the league with some buzz after flashing at both LSU and North Dakota State. Unfortunately, his inability to stay healthy and be available has played a role in the 2021 fourth-round selection failing to ever establish himself, which is unfortunate given the hole that the Dallas Cowboys have at the linebacker position. Micah Parsons is expected to play more at edge, leaving Leighton Vander Esch as really the only trusted member of the second-level unit. Cox appeared in 16 games over the last 2 seasons with the Cowboys. In the action that he did see, the linebacker was credited with 8 total tackles as he provided depth. There was some expectation that Cox would be given the chance to earn a larger role after rookie DeMarvion Overshown suffered a torn ACL in the preseason. Instead, the plans looks to be safety Marquise Bell making the move. There is a chance that Cox returns after clearing waivers, but it speaks to how the coaches view where he is in his development if they are willing to take that risk given the state of the linebacker position. Moving on from Cox wasn't the only defensive roster move that the team made on Tuesday. Dallas also parted ways with defensive tackle Quinton Bohanna with more decisions on the way. It took a few preseason games to get him going on offense, but the Dallas Cowboys know what they have in Cavante Turpin and will keep him around for the 2023 season. The Pro Bowl returner has shown the same explosive nature that got him on the team last year while adding new wrinkles to his game. During the pregame show on 105.3 The Fan, Cowboys sideline reporter Christy Scales was asked about who would be suiting up for the final preseason game against the Las Vegas Raiders and who wouldn't. She said wide receivers Jalen Tolbert and Turpin would not be playing in the game, almost effectively making them members of the 53-man roster. Since February, when Turpin appeared on the Blogging the Boys First and 10 podcast, he talked about giving the coaching staff no choice, but to use him on offense. After the comments were made, fans were left wondering what type of role Turpin could have under Mike McCarthy, given he didn't play much under Kellen Moore. Turpin was coming off of a USFL MVP season when he signed with Dallas last August. This offseason was the first time he had a chance to rest after joining the NFL and learn the playbook working alongside Dak Prescott. His work with Prescott and McCarthy has certainly given them no choice but to use him in a variety of ways. In training camp, there have been times when Turpin lined up in the backfield as a running back, and on the same drive, would be catching a swing pass to the outside. Showing out in practice is one thing, but the coaching staff needs to see the work translate to the game. Against the Seattle Seahawks, number 9 showed he could be relied on in critical situations.